Buongiorno ragazzi e buon lunedì. Today's punto grammaticale, we are going to be taking a closer look at prepositions of time. Now this is something that comes up frequently in conversation when we're discussing travel. In fact, it comes up a lot in discussing anything really, but this is something that will be important in this unit. So we're going to take a closer look at what prepositions to use when. Because in Italian, just like in English, we have a bunch. We have in, we have a, we have di, we have da, and the question is, what do we use and when? So that is what today's topic is going to be. Let's get started. The first preposition that we have is a. A indicates at what time something is being done. For example, partiamo a mezzogiorno. We are leaving at noon. We also use a whenever we're talking about a month. So the month in which, for example, we're taking a trip. Vado in Italia a settembre. I'm going to Italy in September. I wish. Our next preposition is da and a. In this case, we use them to indicate what time something begins and ends. So, in Italian, vado al mare dal lunedì al mercoledì. In this example, we see da and a form a contraction with the definite article il. So it's da il becomes dal, a il becomes al. So vado al mare dal lunedì al mercoledì means I'm going to the sea from Monday through Wednesday. The next prepositions are fra and ra. Now they are used interchangeably, so you can choose which one you like the best. But these indicate how far from the present a future action will happen. Basically, it's like saying within. So for example, le vacanze cominciano fra 3 giorni, which means vacation is beginning within 3 days or in 3 days. The next preposition is di. Di indicates the time of day when something is usually done. For example, di sera prendo un gelato. This means in the evenings, I go and get an ice cream. The next preposition is in, and this is used for certain expressions to indicate that something is happening early or late. So for example, il treno arriva in anticipo means the train arrives early. Last but not least, whenever we're talking about a season in which something is happening, we have a choice. We could either use in or we could use di. So for example, in estate vado al mare. You could also say d'estate vado al mare. In this case, it's you see di with the apostrophe because di and estate, since estate starts with a vowel, we just lose the I from di and we have an apostrophe there, forms a contraction. So again, in estate vado al mare or d'estate vado al mare, they both mean in the summertime I go to the sea. Last but not least, there's something else that I want to mention here. It's not a preposition. However, we do use it when we're talking about time, especially with travel. If we want to give a specific date on which we're taking a trip, for example, we are not going to use a preposition, but instead we're going to use the definite article. So here's an example. When expressing dates, we use a definite article rather than a preposition. Partiamo per la montagna il 3 agosto. We're leaving for the mountains the 3rd of August. Okay, so since I have a specific date here, being August 3rd, I'm going to use the preposition il. Let's do a couple of practice examples just to make sure that we've got this down. So in our first example, down at the bottom here, we have le vacanze estive cominciano, and then the word giugno. Now, giugno is a month. So if you go back and take a look at our cheat sheet, which by the way will be available to you when you do your practice at the end of this lesson, if you take a look back, we see that when we're talking about months, we use the preposition a. So to complete our sentence, we have le vacanze estive cominciano a giugno. Let's look at another example. La lezione inizia 5 minuti. So here I want to say that the lesson starts in 5 minutes. Now, since we're talking about something that's happening, that's in the future, it's a future action, and we're talking about the time in which it's going to happen between the present and the future, we're going to use either fra or tra. So la lezione inizia fra 5 minuti, or you can say la lezione inizia tra 5 minuti. Next example. Il mio compleanno è 23 settembre. Now here we have a specific date. So you remember what I said about this. When we have a specific date, in this case, 23 settembre, we don't use a preposition. Instead, we use the definite article il. So, il mio compleanno è il 23 settembre, which by the way it is, so buy me a present. Next example, frequento la scuola lunedì, venerdì. So I go to school Monday, Friday. So I want to say from Monday until Friday. Here is a situation in which we're talking about when something begins and then when something ends. So that's when we're going to use our da and a. Now remember, we're going to combine with the definite article il. So we have dal lunedì al venerdì. Putting the whole sentence together, frequento la scuola dal lunedì al venerdì. Okay, next example. Io vado in montagna inverno. So now inverno we know is a season. It means winter. Since it's a season, we can choose. We can either say in inverno or d'inverno. In this case, we're going to use the D apostrophe because we had di and then inverno. We have those two I's back to back. So since inverno starts with a vowel, you can drop the I in di and you can put an apostrophe there instead. So you could either say io vado in montagna in inverno or io vado in montagna d'inverno. Last but not least, in our final example here, faccio una passeggiata sera. Sera indicates a time of day. So going back to our cheat sheet here, we're going to take a look. When we're talking about the day or the time of day when something usually is done, we're going to use the preposition di. Faccio una passeggiata di sera. In this sentence, it's implying that I usually take a walk in the evenings. Okay, tocca a te. At this point, it's your turn to do some practice. If you feel comfortable enough, you can move on to doing the activity that I posted for you guys. However, the beauty of a video lesson is that if you don't feel that you have this, if you think that you need to revisit this a little bit more, you can just rewind and you can watch it as many times as you need to until you feel comfortable with the material. Okay, ciao!